Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us here today. I have Duane Cashin, president of Cashin Sales, with me. So excited to chat with you, Duane. Why don't you give us a little bit of a background of your history in the industry, maybe a couple jokes or two? I know how you roll.
Oh, a joke or two?
Yeah,
All right, you asked for it. Um, yeah, thank you, Rachel. I've been looking forward to this for 2 months. I love brainstorming with you on this stuff. So, I've been in sales and leadership for 40 years, and most of my career was spent in corporate America, big corporation Sprint, and some of my. Then I went out on my own and decided to start my own consulting company
yeah.
in sales, and some of my clients were Aetna, Life and Casualty, Lego, Goldman Sachs. And then I had the opportunity to speak at a pest world conference in San Diego. It was probably 9 years ago. And I fell in love with the topic. I fell in love with the audience. They were so passionate about what they were doing. I said, wow, I think I found my people.
Yeah, the
So
pest
for nine,
industry, passionate bunch.
oh,
Passionate.
totally. And to work with people that are fired up, it just makes me fired up. I get energy from it.
Good.
There's some people in some situations you get energy from, and then others they're an energy drain.
Right, right.
Pest control and lawn care for me is it just drives energy. So I said, you know what? I'm going to start focusing on this because I got some business from that presentation, excuse me. And then I got referrals. So here's the bottom line. For 9 years, I have been focused exclusively on pest control and lawn care.
Mhm.
And in that time, I have listened to over 3,000 sales calls.
Wow.
That's only about 8 to 10 a week. And about 250 calls into it, I said, wow, I think there's an opportunity here for me. I'm going to monetize this. I'm hearing all kinds of reps, the good, the bad, the ugly. I'm learning about the sales management process in pest control and lawn care. I'm going to document this stuff. And I did. I
Wow.
documented it. I wrote a book about it, and I created a 30-lesson program on it. And that's where I am today.
I
Yeah.
I love to hear it. It's been so great, getting to hear your story and just how you've helped businesses. And I appreciate you coming on today and chatting a little bit. I know we can both agree that at the end of the day, when it comes to both marketing and sales, knowing what your return on investment is, that's the topic of today. It's such a powerful tool. And many business owners don't really have visibility into their ROI, and it's not for a lack of trying. We've all tried, but it's really hard. And that's one of the reasons why Coalmarch created our newest ROI driven marketing guide. It really outlines some of the key components of working towards uncovering ROI of your marketing efforts. And if anyone's interested, you can find this coalmarch.com under resources. And we define, what a true lead is and why it matters for everyone, being on the same page, how to track it effectively, how to evaluate performance across your marketing, and, just how to make smarter decisions with that data. And so, Duane, you've always given such great insight into how to make marketing go further and improve ROI. So, we featured you in the guide, and you're here
Thank
with
you.
us today to chat through a few of the topics that we go through in the guide and really
Mhm.
connect the dots between marketing and sales. So
And
yeah.
I think right now, what I'm observing in the marketplace
Mhm.
from working with my clients and the reading that I do as well with industry publications,
Yeah.
we know that the pest control and lawn care industries are very crowded. We know that.
Mhm.
We've got everything from trunkers, all the chuck in the truck, all the way up to national corporations.
Yeah.
So it's become extremely important to become more savvy,
Yeah. Yeah.
more marketing and sales savvy, because I've never met a lawn care or a pest control company owner that said, Duane, you know why I started this company? No, why, Harry? Because I wanted to build a killer sales team.
Mhm.
No, they love the craft. They love being out and agronomy and entomology. So many of them studied it in school. That's their passion, not building a sales or a marketing organization.
Right. Right.
And with the buyouts that are happening, the major corporations that are buying some of these companies, they're bringing process to the table. They're bringing marketing and sales process to the table. So
Yeah.
now you've got a more sophisticated companies,
Mhm.
and you've got an extremely crowded market. So I think that you have to today. It's mandatory
Yeah.
to be savvy with marketing and understand how it feeds sales with data that enables a company to differentiate itself and grow. It's mandatory today.
Oh, totally. And, from the marketing side, that saturated market, so many companies out there, what that equates to is marketing becoming 10 times more expensive.
Hmm.
And, being able to tie back how much you're spending in marketing to actual sales really
Hmm.
just hopefully validates what you're spending in marketing. And it may not. It may, put you down a different path and have you, find a different route that works better for you. But knowing it and seeing that visibility into it at least gets you a start in the right direction.
Agreed.
Um,
100%. Yep.
so one of the things I wanted to chat about, this is nothing new. It's common best practice to ask, how did you hear about us? As when a caller comes in. And historically, from the marketing side, asking that question has been really a lead tracking tool that helps companies, properly identify where leads are coming from. But from my experience, it doesn't really give us the true answer of what we want to know on the
Hmm.
marketing side.
Hmm.
Someone, and I'm sure you've heard this a million times, they call in, you ask, how'd you hear about us? They say, oh, I Googled you. Well, in today's age, that can mean one of a variety of things. And it really doesn't help us as marketers drill down where that lead is coming from. But from your side, that question means something sort of different. You get a different value from that. So I'm interested to hear, how does asking this set the tone for the conversation? What do you, from a sales side, get value out of that?
Yeah, this is really important. First of all, the discovery, the front end of the sales process is the most important
Mhm.
for a very simple reason. We gather the information we need to understand who we're talking to.
Mhm.
What is their compelling reason to buy? What's caused them to reach out today? Because there's a trigger event. Something happened. Maybe they've got pest pressure. They've got a child who's extremely upset, won't even go in their room.
Mhm.
Maybe they pulled into their driveway and looked at their lawn and said, my gosh, my lawn is the worst in the neighborhood. I'm embarrassed. So they decide to reach out.
Yeah.
And in the sales moment, as we're diving deep into discovery, the question of, hey, how'd you hear about us? Here's why that's so important. Number one, if they say, well, my neighbor uses you and loves the technician, loves having her come into the home, take care of pests, the perimeter, we're so happy with they do termite for us. They're doing so many different services. We couldn't be happier. Okay, so that's a referral.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that means that rep would make note of that to say this buyer already has some trust built
Mhm.
because their neighbor has validated that we are amazing. So they may be 80% through the sale decision.
Mhm.
So the rep would know that. If they say, well, I Googled you. Okay, fantastic. Glad you found us. Where are you? Are you shopping around right now? I am. Okay, perfect. Am I the first one you talked to? Am I the second? Now we're learning, are they there? Do we validate you? They are shopping around.
Mhm.
So that means they're looking for something, and the rep is going to figure out what exactly are you looking for in the company when you find them.
Yeah.
And where am I? Am I the first one? Because if I'm the first one, they may not have gotten much education,
Mm.
and they may not have any pricing.
Mhm.
So I've got to be cognizant of that. They
Yeah.
may say, I've seen your trucks in my neighborhood. Trucks look really sharp. I see the technicians in uniforms. They're doing a wonderful job. So it helps the rep within minutes understand where this person is in their buying journey. And that's why from the immediate sales side, it's so invaluable.
Yeah. No, that's such a good point. And it's funny how that one singular question
Yeah.
can, lead us to two very different points. And, I've sort of found that the question can be a little dated from the marketing side because it doesn't tell you the true value, but it's such a crucial one on the sales side. Do you find that are from the businesses that you work with, are they asking that question consistently and using it to help guide their conversation?
Well, they're beginning to. One of the challenges with some of these salespeople,
Mhm.
and this is not their fault, they just haven't been trained.
Mhm.
In fact, most of the companies I work with have never been through a formal consultative selling training program. So they're just not really sure of the elements and how it goes. And the reps, many of them are order takers.
Mhm.
And we need order takers. That's okay. I'm not saying that disparagingly, but an order taker is fundamentally someone that's good for overflow.
Yeah. Yeah.
We need the frontline reps, the one that we expect to take the majority of the calls and be able to execute the process and handle the 4 objections that we get. We need them to go all the way and do a magnificent job. And
Mhm.
sometimes when I'm working with some of these reps, it's natural. They're uncomfortable. You know, they haven't been asking, how'd you hear about us? They haven't been asking what's prompted you to reach out now.
Mhm.
And many of them have this vision that this is going to greatly extend the call.
Mhm.
But the irony is it doesn't.
Yeah.
Because when you get a complete discovery, it's going to shorten the presentation because all you're going to focus on are the immediate things that this person is most concerned about. You're not going to do a feature dump going on and on about everything the company does. It's going to be very targeted. And then we'll do soft closes. What do you think about that, Mrs. Johnson? We'll
Yeah.
find hesitations. We'll deal with it. I mean, I listen to some calls that are 12 minutes long where very little info is gathered. And it was a wonderful back and forth, chit chat. But at the end, the buyer says, you know what, email it over. I've got to discuss it with my spouse. I call that getting spoused.
Mhm.
And then it's over. So what I would say to any reps watching this, I understand your concern that this is going to lengthen the call. Trust me when I tell you it'll actually shorten it.
Okay. So speaking of training, one of the things that we've seen on our end is, a lack of consistency from pest and lawn sales teams actually logging leads and updating their status. So you're talking about training on the call. How about after the call? What happens? And, from a marketing data perspective, that is critical in order to be able to track data and glean answers from it. What do you see? How consistently is this happening? Are you seeing the same issue?
No. No, sales reps love administrative duties. They have so much patience and focus in that area. Are you kidding me? No, this is classic. I mean, I know when I was a director of Sprint, we had this issue all the time.
Yeah.
In fact, the top performing reps were the ones that you had to go behind more often to clean up their mess. No,
Right.
these are people that like to talk. These are people that like a relationship,
Yeah.
They don't like sitting at a computer and working with CRM and filling out forms, expense reports and forms. And no, they don't like it. And that's okay. It's not their bag. It's not their thing.
Yeah. But
But it's
they'll log the sale though, right?
all day long. Yeah, good point. Yeah,
Yeah.
all day long. Yeah. It's part of their personality, and this is why in any company, lawn, pest, even though you may only have one rep or even a hybrid, a CSR that also sells, because you're at 1.2 million, 2.3 million, you're pushing 3, you don't have the money to hire a full-time rep, you don't have a full-time sales manager. That's understandable. That's how they all grow. So
Right.
you've got a CSR and a hybrid, a CSR and doing sales. They need to be crystal clear on what is important in their job.
Mhm.
The owner needs to sit with them and explain from a business standpoint, Tony, this is why entering this data is critical. And frankly, Tony, it is a condition of your employment. And here's why. If you don't put in to your CRM every single estimate, anytime you give anybody a price, it's got to go in there.
Right.
Because if you're talking with somebody and you give them a price and you don't close the sale, and you don't enter that into the system, you're totally messing up the closing ratio.
Mhm.
And we need to know what the closing ratios are so we can help people.
Yeah.
This is classic, and it requires patience on the owner's part and the sales manager's part, but they have to be very firm in letting them know this is critical, and we will not allow it, and it's a condition of employment. They have to be that firm on it.
Yeah. So one thing that I've started to see is AI helping solve that problem. Maybe not fully, and there's lots of gaps. And I think, CRMs in the industry can really take hold of this. But, being able to utilize tracking phone calls and then using AI to review those phone calls and knowing exactly which ones were real leads and which ones closed, which ones, got that estimate, wherever it drops off, having that visibility. And I know that's something, on the Coalmarch side, we've really been trying to solve for from the tracking and data perspective, maybe not necessarily the, rep training or, things like that, but being able to see what truly is a lead and utilizing AI, not a manual entering into a CRM to tell us that full story. And that has been a game changer.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, in lawn care and pest control, you could argue that anybody picks up the telephone, that's a good lead.
Very true.
Or anybody that goes on the website and fills out a web form, that's a good lead. Why? Because they're reaching out. If they state they have a problem, then that's a lead.
Yeah.
It's up to us now, the sales professional, to be able to do a wonderful discovery, find out what is their buying motivation, how ready are they, how upset, how concerned are they about this problem, what's the emotion behind it? Because nobody buys pest control. Nobody buys lawn care. What are you talking about, Duane? What they buy is the emotion. If they've got pests in the house and their sweet little girl won't go in a room because she's got ants, they want to stop her anxiety. Yes. They love her. They don't want her upset. And they also want a good night's sleep.
Right.
So it's all about the emotion. That's another area that when you look at top sales rep in a call, they find out what's the emotion behind this interest. So if somebody has an emotion, they've got a problem to solve. That's a good lead.
I love that. So walk me through. I know you have sort of a theory or framework for how to connect emotionally and the different types of buyers. Mm-hmm. Walk us through it.
Yeah. See, that question that you just asked is the heart and soul of this. Mm-hmm. I'm going to date myself right now. Maybe some of these listeners have remembered Zig Ziglar. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I'm going way back now. Okay. I started selling in 1984. Mm-hmm. And Zig Ziglar was one of the guys that we studied. Tom Hopkins. These guys were pioneers in bringing process to selling versus just winging it based on personality.
Right.
And, Zig had this statement, find out what they want and then give it to them.
Right.
Wow. That's it, Zig. That's what it's about. So that's why discovery is so important. So here are some killer questions. The answer to your question, Rachel, is we've got to find out why they picked up that phone. Mary, thanks so much for calling in today. It's wonderful to hear your voice. Thank you. I'm curious, how did you hear about us? Well, my neighbor has you guys and loves you. Ding, ding. Okay. And what's prompted you to reach out right now? Well, I'm fed up with this current company. They don't communicate with me. They make promises. They don't provide. Okay. This individual is frustrated with the attention they're getting. And how about the end result, Mary? Are you getting the outcome? No, I'm not. I still have pests. No, I still have weeds. Okay. They're not happy with the communication. They're not happy with the results. Now the rep is understanding they've got someone on the line here who is motivated.
Yeah.
And in having that conversation, like you and I are right now, we're connecting with one another. Yeah. You and I are passionate about this. We love having this conversation. The thing that reps need to understand is that the number one thing, let me ask you this, Rachel, what's the number one thing anybody wants to talk about?
Themselves.
Exactly. So what does that mean? That to a rep, show them you genuinely are interested. Be curious. Be a human being. Mary, I'm curious to know what's prompted you to reach out now. Now we're learning about them. And then when we present, we say, Mary, you talked earlier about the lack of communication between you and your provider. And I can see that you're frustrated and upset with that. Pause. A lot of times we go, you bet I am. Okay, perfect. Well, let me tell you how our company is structured so that we help eliminate that frustration. You see, we're different, Mary. And now the rep is pulling that listener in because it's about something they called about, that they care about. That's how we humanize it and we differentiate ourselves. And the companies that train their reps to do that, it is entirely possible because I've seen it. They can create a gap between their company and their nearest competitor that is so wide that nearest competitor will never close it. Because the services that these companies provide are largely the same, aren't they?
Right.
It's the rep, it's the human element that makes the buyer say, wow, I'm feeling comfortable with this person. They're different, they're unique, they're making this all about myself. This idea I had, I'm going to shop around. I don't know, I'm too busy. I really don't want to do that anyway. I'm going to go ahead with Mary and I'm going to do business with her right now. That's where the human side is. Talk to a human being. What's the other thing? When you're in a photo at a party, right? You're having a party,
Uh-huh.
and your friend has taken a picture, and you're in it, and they send that picture to you. Who's the first person you look for?
Oh, I'm looking at myself and
Bam. Everybody does. So when reps tell me, "Oh, Duane, I don't want to be intrusive by asking these questions, and those are too many questions," they aren't thinking.
right, right.
People want to talk about themselves. When they get a photo, they're the first ones they look at. What does that tell you? That tells you if you're genuine when you ask, what's
Yeah.
prompted you to reach out today? They're going to answer that question with pleasure.
Yeah. People want to feel heard and understood, and connecting with them in that way is,
Especially today.
oh, 100%. And
Yeah.
I think connecting with the buyer happens even before you get them on the phone. There are so many ways that you can cater your marketing messaging to a potential buyer, whether that be, we don't know everyone's internal thoughts, and you really get that opportunity on the phone, but
Yeah.
how can we cater to essentially a persona that has, their specific buying behaviors, what their expectations are, what their
Mhm.
motivations are,
Mhm.
catering, whether it's a social media ad or a direct mail piece or, website content, catering it to a specific persona and tying that persona back to a service offering,
Mhm.
maybe a location. Someone who's in a specific part of your service area may
Oh, yeah.
a different persona, depending on, average income or, just different components of that location. But there's so many different ways we can cater to your target customer and what they care about before even getting on the phone.
What
Um,
a great way to start.
yeah, yeah.
So you must be challenged, I'll bet, with the persona of younger people and older people.
They're
Because younger people really don't want to talk to you, right? But older people do want to. Tell me a little bit about like how you deal with those personas.
Yeah. So, the most from a digital marketing perspective, answering their questions and getting the information that they need as fast as possible is
Mhm.
the goal when it comes to someone coming to a website. And giving them a way to convert, aka call you or contact you in the way that
Okay.
works best for them. So, the majority of businesses are going to have high call volume, maybe web forms, but offering options to text, offering options for live chat meets them where they are.
Mhm.
Um, and being able to service them, outside of office hours. Every generation is a little bit different on what they're willing to do or what I just want to pick up the phone and call, talk to someone, I want to talk to a real human.
Mhm.
Others don't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole. They want to have that live chat. They want to text. That's what they feel most comfortable in.
Mhm.
And giving them that option is so
Mhm.
crucial in 2026 so that, you don't segment or I guess turn away part of your market. So definitely
That's
good.
being very strategic, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
mean, that's being wicked smart. I'm gonna give No, it is. I'm gonna give them an option. It's not one size fits all because that doesn't work anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Years and years ago, that did work, when there wasn't as much competition and you had an edge in the marketplace, one size fits all, but not anymore. And you're serving it up in different flavors, and I think that's how you tell me if I'm wrong, because I'm not the marketing expert. You are, but when you say you want to text, you can. You want to call, you can. You're beginning to differentiate their age, perhaps.
Hmm. And
That's
know
cool.
how to meet them. Absolutely.
Yeah,
So
that's cool.
I love it. So going back to being able to track, marketing efforts all the way to closed sales,
Yep.
which is a big topic of the guide that we've talked about today. As you know, Duane, Coalmarch has created an automated way of reporting on this for people who use Pest or Real Green, and then also
Killer. It's killer.
Coalmarch marketing. And it opens a ton of doors to data that has historically been really hard to get. And with that data, it opens up a lot of vulnerabilities on both the marketing and
Mhm.
sales side. It
Mhm.
shines a light on maybe where there's cracks in our marketing strategy or our sales strategy. Knowing that we now have full visibility into leads or maybe lack thereof, or sales and lack thereof. Historically without this, it ends up being, those were bad leads, or, the sales team doesn't know how to handle objections, or, friction between marketing and sales. We've all seen it. So with this level of data, we now have that clarity to at least give us some directional insight into what's the problem.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen this internal fight before, and have a general idea of where the issues are. So for example, say we see that the quality of leads are coming in, it's working really well. We have this data now. We can trust it because, we're utilizing AI to track and see those quality leads. We can confirm that we have quality leads, but we see our closing rates are just not really allowing for a good return on the marketing. What do you recommend next? How do business owners take this data that hopefully Coalmarch is providing them? How do they take it back to the team and craft a message of what's next? Any insight from your perspective?
Well, we deal with this all day long. This is a classic challenge, and understandably so. I said a few minutes ago that is my observation. And again, I'm sharing with you what I'm observing. I don't make this stuff up because I think it sounds cool.
Right.
I read an article about Hewlett Packard years ago that helped me understand who defines value. The buyer defines value, not the company. Yeah. And at that point in time, companies making computers and companies making printers, they would sit in a room, a conference room with their engineers, and the leadership would be there, and sales leaders would be there, and they'd say, what do we think our buyers value? Well, I think they value linking their printer to a computer. Well, I think they want to be able to stack yellow paper, blue paper, green paper in that printer and push the green button for green. So they were stating what the value is. And that's backwards. And Hewlett Packard, in this article, it turned me on to that. Go to the buyer, find out what they value. So that's the purpose of data, in my opinion. What's your feeling about that? For me, the only reason we collect any data is to understand what we need to do, what our next move is, who are we talking to, and how do I appeal to them and give them what they want. I mean, am I missing something there?
No. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so that's what you provide. And that's killer, because the data, if you're running a sales team, even if you're the owner of a small $1.9, $2.9 million, that owner is going to have to be the sales manager.
Yeah.
Even if you only have one rep. So the data helps that leader understand where they need to help that rep. If that rep's closing ratio is low, well, they've got to go in and they've got to listen to some calls. And as you said, they can use AI.
Right.
We get 4 objections. One of the killer is I've been spoused. I have to, hey, thanks a lot, Rachel. This has been great. I've got to talk it over with my wife. AI very easily can tell you the number of calls that a rep has had that objection and failed to handle it and did not close the sale.
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. So now the manager will know this was a good lead because the person called in with a problem and a need. Perfect. Ticks that box off. Good lead. It's in our territory, our footprint. Good lead. In the conversation, the buyer has the funds. Good lead.
Yeah.
Got the objection. I was talking to my wife. Did nothing to handle it. Did not get the sale. I, as sales leader, I've got to help them handle objections. Boom. Now we're diagnosing the rep, where they're strong, where they're weak, how to help them, and that increases closing ratio. And you do that across the team, and now you're exponentially increasing. Oh, the tide rises all boats, right? The sales leader is the force multiplier. I don't care if you've got somebody that's been selling with you for 10 years, you don't give them support and hold them accountable, they're going to go off the reservation too. And they're going to take their foot off the gas. It's just the way it is. The data gives the leadership an understanding of where each rep is on the professional scale and where they need help. That's gold.
Right. And you make sure that you're not investing time, energy, training into the wrong areas. You know where to put forth that effort, which is, you know, needed. Absolutely.
Right now, I got a call from one of my pest control clients. He said the termites are swarming right now.
Mhm.
The season is started.
Oh yeah.
I've got a new person. We've got to get this person up to speed. You know, what do we do? Pest lawn care. Now that the snow is starting to melt, the crews can get out and the production has begun. Lawn care, a lot of you know, at least from the middle of the country east, they're a couple of weeks behind in production.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, having that data helps you understand how to put your foot on the gas.
Right.
And you know, and it's like GPS on a phone. You look at it and you know where you're going. You're
Yeah.
not wandering around trying to figure it out. The data gives us direction and insight, which is huge for differentiation.
Yeah. And marketing is, like I mentioned earlier on, it's so expensive these days. We
Yep.
have to squeeze everything we can out of it, and making sure that we're, you know, delivering high quality lead. We're, you know, closing every lead that walks through the door and making the most of it, and getting that
100%.
return.
Getting
So
that ROI is killer. So when somebody says, I'm going to think about it, and the rep goes, all right, well, let me email a proposal over to you. Oh, you got to be kidding me. This cost me $300.
yeah,
And that's what you're saying? Give me your email. I'll email it. And then so sweetly saying, and if you have any other questions, don't hesitate to call me. No, but it's not the rep's fault. They haven't been trained.
no, it's so true. So I want to ask one final question, Duane.
Oh, we have to stop this?
I know. I could talk to you for hours. I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm going to
This
put
is
you on
too
the
much fun.
It is, and I appreciate it so much. What is if you could give a business owner one piece of advice to build, you know, the sales team of their dreams, or the CSRs that just kill it on the sales side, what would it be?
If your sales performance is not where it needs to be,
Mhm.
and you're not getting the ROI on your marketing that you are capable of,
Mhm.
it's not your fault. You didn't start a company to build a wonderful sales team.
Mhm.
You are brilliant in building dense routes, in having the right materials on a truck. You're brilliant in understanding how to buy material, how to inventory it. How do I take care of fescue? How do I take care of Bermuda grass? You know, how do I deal with termites and ants and spiders? My God, the knowledge you have in those areas is just mind-blowing to me, really. I respect you all for that. So what do you do? Well, you're spending about, I'm going to guess, 90% of your focus and energy in those technical and production areas,
Mhm.
because you're amazing at it. You're only spending 10% in the sales side. So my advice to you was start taking the sales performance,
Mhm.
learn the elements of a good sales team and how to hold them accountable. Study that a little bit
Mhm.
and devote more of your time to it, because that's where you will get your maximum increase in sales, increase in profitability, and your company will continue to grow in double digits. I promise you, this is not an experiment. Okay, I've listened to over 3,000 calls. The stuff we're talking about here is 100% real. If you start studying it, get passionate about it, dedicate enough time to it, you'll get results that you quite possibly didn't know were possible.
Well, hopefully that's what they're doing today, is learning
Bam.
and understanding. It's such great advice. You know, knowledge sounds trite, but knowledge is power. And we appreciate you, you know, just giving us a little knowledge today, Duane. It's so helpful. For our listeners, those who are watching, where can they find you? Where can they connect with you?
Well,
If
thank you.
we're interested in more of what you do and how you can help.
My company name is Cashin Sales. That's my last name. It's Cashin, Cashin Sales. So it's cashinsales.com. And, you know, I've got Calendly on there, I think, as everybody does these days. And, you know, shoot me shoot me an email and a Calendly thing, and we'll talk a little bit about what's going on.
Well, you are a joy to talk with in any form, and we appreciate you.
Well, thanks. You're sweet. No, I get energy from this. Now I can go home and my wife will be thrilled with my energy.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah. No, thank you very much, Rachel. You're the best, man.
Of course. To round out, remember, you can get the ROI Driven Marketing Guide at coalmarch.com. We'd love for you to read it, digest it, learn a little bit. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, I read that over, by the way. That what are you calling it? A workbook? A guide? No, a guide.
Yes.
It's killer. There's thousands of dollars worth of information there. You'd pay thousands of bucks to get that report.
I appreciate it.
No, really. You would. Come on. That's awesome. Yeah. All right. You sure we have to stop? We could talk some more. All right. Goodbye.
Got it. Goodbye.
See ya.